Hey.
Smoke, good to see you.
Likewise, good to see everyone's gathered.
Yes, thank you for coming. Volgar is, I believe, not going to make it, so you can speak on behalf of Thunder and Lightning there, if you don't
You
mind.
got it.
Uh, Ragnar is here. He's, here for, Jumbo's own. He's here for Jumbo, more or less. If you don't mind, Echo, would you please
Okay.
stand there in the center and tell us what happened from the perspective of Nordmoor?
Okay. So you'd like to hear just what
Just
what
the
I've
facts,
witnessed
yeah,
in
of course.
Okay. So early this morning, late last night, depends on your stars. But here's somewhat recently. Um, Bardadir, myself, and the merchant Hydir, we're in our keep. Just working around. We were working, just doing normal stuff, not really doing anything too crazy. And a masked man came into the keep because the gates were down. We weren't really worried about an attack at the time. He came into the keep, and we said hello. Who are you? And we tried to talk to him several times, and they didn't want to verbally speak to us or anything like that. Um, they had a sword in their hand, and they were waving it towards the Jarl, not in a threatening manner, but almost like in a challenging manner. And the Jarl kept asking, who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here? Um, no words were ever spoken from the person, so we didn't know who they were, what they wanted. It was clear. It was kind of clear to us that he wanted to challenge us, but he doesn't really accept challenges from random nobodies. There's got to be some sort of reason for him to accept it. And we kept with the same line of questioning. Who are you? What do you want? What are you doing here? And there was just never any response from the person. And this gone on for probably 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then the person pulled out a bow, shot the Jarl in the chest with the bow. At that time, myself, the Jarl, and Heidi proceeded to jump over the counter. We were all standing behind, start assaulting the individual. The fight led outside of the north side of our keep. We fought around in that little wooded area for maybe 5-6 minutes, something of the sort, until the individual was taken down. Once the individual was taken down, we proceeded to try to take him prisoner. He started walking towards the keep where we ordered him to go. He attempted to run again, but he was wounded, so he passed out, and then so we got him awake. Once he was awake again, we brought him back to the keep. Said, "All right, mate, come on, let's go. You're not gonna be running. You're fucked up." And we improvised a little cell for him, and we sat there. We questioned him. Who he was, what he was doing here, all kind of stuff. The person told us that they were there because we had attacked you guys. I believe they were speaking about what happened to Mr. Wind, and and he seemed to be unaware at that time about the attack that happened on our people by Quinn and other people whose names are unknown. At that time, all those people were claiming. Well, Quinn was claiming that he and the other people were from Ascension. So, at that time, the best knowledge we had was 4 people from Ascension had attacked us on our land. So, in return, we came to speak with your leader, which, to the best of my knowledge, is Mr. Wind. So, we came to speak with Mr. Wind. Yalbadadir was admittedly very hostile, and ordered him over the counter. He was unaware of this whole situation about of Mr. Quinn attacking us, which is the reason why we came to your place. But so that's essentially what's happened. Your person here came to our lands, wouldn't speak with us, attacked the Jarl. In return, we defended the Jarl, took him down, held him prisoner for about an hour until we could figure out exactly what was going on, why he was there, who he was. And once that was gone, once that was up, the godly rule decided, we had to let him go. We did take the armor that he was wearing because, just as some sort of like proof that, this person was here, because it's, it was masking his face. So at first we had no idea who he was until we were able to get that off of him. So We did take that armor from him. Does anybody have any questions regarding what I've stated here today?
So when he was struck down and you were able to question him, that's when you were able to determine his identity due to taking the mask off.
When he was struck down, of course, Loki loves when you are struck down that you'll be naked. And
Of
at
course.
that point, when he was naked, Heidi, visually recognized who it was. She
Of
said,
course, of
"Okay,
course.
this is Jumbo."
Hmm.
I said, "Okay," and so of course, at that point, we knew who he was. At least, we knew who Heidi claimed he was. And then when we started speaking with him, it became quite clear that this was Jumbo.
Of course, of course.
That's how we found out
Nordmoor,
his identity.
does Nordmoor have as a representative of their interest, do they have a sort of diplomatic resolution in mind that they've shared with you?
Not that I'm particularly aware of. I know Heidi wanted to have an official trial, and Bardadir wanted an execution. But since it was an execution was not consented upon, we couldn't do that. So we settled with taking the armor, so he couldn't, so there couldn't be any more sneaking in.
Of course.
And we let him go because that's all we could do at the moment.
If given the chance, would you still like to have a trial?
I believe the Jarl would. I know I certainly would, and I know for sure Heidi definitely would. So
if any of the Jumbo, do you dispute any of these claims? Jumbo? Poisoning.
Oh, the pufferfish thing. I think that was mainly a joke. I'll be honest with you. I forgot about that. I'll be honest with you. I totally forgot about that.
What is the what situation?
So the situation he's speaking of is, I don't remember exactly who, but somebody said let's use the pufferfish method, and they ran around looking for pufferfish. I was in the dark. I didn't even know what this was until they were all running about looking for pufferfish in our chests, and I'm like, "What's a pufferfish mission? What are we doing? What are we doing? What's a pufferfish?" And they were like, "Oh, it's a fish that poisons them." I was like, "Oh, that's not great."
So, in an effort to get more information, yeah.
I think so. But we didn't have any pufferfish, so it was not done.
Sounds like a bunch of milk drinkers to me.
Well, does this
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Let's ignore that for now. Jumbo, is this accurate? The pufferfish, is this? Well, regardless, is that the situation as it occurred? They looked for fish to poison you with. Is there any other element of the story that you'd like to dispute or you feel is inaccurately presented? Okay, Echo. We're going to decide some things here. If you'd like to return back wherever you'd like to go, it's fine. I'll have you and the Jarl a raven with our decision as to what we're going to do and what you could seek in. We'll talk.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to ask, whether or not Nordmoor wished to have to wait on the results of the trial before making any further requests of this situation.
I think a trial is definitely in order. Over an execution, in my opinion. I think depending on your position, an execution may or may not be justified. Depends on how you see the situation. But I don't think that's necessary here, regardless of the actions. I feel like we can move forward without having anybody having to lose their lives. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see just some, hold fast and trust this come true. Nobody needs to die for this.
Of course.
of course.
You're free to leave, Echo. Thank you for
Okay.
informing us of Nordmoor's position on it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to come here and speak.
Are
You guys
you-
have a lovely day.
Will you be able to get off the mountain? Fine.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
remember which way we came.
Well,
Appreciate
let me bless you at least to get you out quicker.
Thank you, sir.
Of course.
Jumbo, what are you doing starting fights without me there?
That's a question I asked myself.
Regardless, they tried to poison him.
Seems like he's always trying to have fun without me.
I wonder if fact trying to poison him was probably not the best decision on their part, but Jumbo was the one going up there in the first place.
So, Vela, let me fill you in on a few things. I saw your puzzled look there. What Echo said is accurate in the sense that they believe that Quinn attacked Nordmoor. They have the belief, or had the belief, that I hired Quinn to do this, which is inaccurate, of course. They came to the shop quite heated as the combatants in the north had run to the south, proceeded to relieve me of my consciousness, and we were in something of a forced conversation for the next hour or so. At the end of it, got to the point where they apologized for what they'd done, admitted they had zero evidence for any of the claims they were making, and left. In attendance was Mrs. Charmer, which she always shows up for fights, to fight, it seems. Neither here nor there. Blackmane, Echo, pretending to be someone else named, in a moment you may. Bardomir, I believe that's... Oh, and Makir, formerly of Twin Rocks. There was some dispute about certain elements of what occurred, and they departed. Since then, we had talked, Jumbo and Hunter and I, about having this exact meeting, at which time we were going to make some very important decisions about what occurred. Jumbo apparently having decided for his own benefit to enact his own plan, discussed nothing with us, and performed this action, which you just heard discussed by Echo, no different than what they did to us, thereby taking, in my opinion, all the high ground we had and slipping it away. What would you like to say, Jumbo? They denied which aspect? They denied that it ever occurred? Which details did they deny? Bardier was there. He's the one who struck me. And in my case of not, quote, complying, they did demand I leave the shop, and I didn't out of fear of my own safety. So there is an element of truth to that, but my safety was challenged regardless of where I was standing, so it really doesn't make much of a difference.
But
No
what
man
you're
has a
also
right to kick someone out of their own home.
Well, that is true. But what you're also saying is that Ein Vala and Nordmoor are together.
Of course. Yes. Blackmane entered, was not in the shop at the time of the assault, but arrived somewhat later. I believe after speaking to Mrs. Charmer somewhere else, because she did not return for the assault as well. The issue here is that Nordmoor came down to me a couple nights ago and presented me with a gift, a something that was worth what they did. I'll say that. I am still completely ready to forgive them entirely for what occurred, for the nature of what they told me was so massive, it can't be understated. It is a gift so grand that I feel obligated now to repay them for what you've done. That's how large it is.
Do you mind sharing what this gift is?
They provided me with the identity of the leader of the, quote, Oopsie gang, as well as provided their own services in capturing this individual and bringing them to justice. For our benefit and not their own. And they requested no...
raided you?
They've raided me, they've raided our cook Ruvar, they've raided Goldport, they've raided the Free Folk, they've raided Numea, they've raided everyone except a few people, which you'll understand when I tell you who it is. That will not be done in this mixed company, but the fact of the matter is they are ready to bring us the entire group, as well as the leader of the Eye.
That seems quite valuable indeed.
It's a very bold claim to make, however.
It is not bold when you learn the details. Well, thank you, Jumbo, for letting us know you needed a second.
Yeah. He seems very concerned.
Fucking shit up my ass. I told them they provided a very large amount of information, as well as will provide assistance in capturing the leader of the Oopsie gang, as well as helping us procure the information that will lead to the arrest of the Eye as well. This gift was provided and was going to be discussed today, as you know, because you and Hunter were there when I decided to hold this meeting in the first place. And you have jeopardized that as well. Now, yes.
Just, he knows he's done wrong and he's had the shit beat about him and he's embarrassed. There's no need to drag him across the coals.
He should be embarrassed. He's thinking too much with his sword and not enough with his head.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. But still,
you are a lord.
To poison his mind, you'll lose him.
Well, this is the situation. There has to be one of our goals, Bella.
His actions, yes, but
yes.
At the same time, if you push
he's
him
not
away,
going to be executed for this. That's not happening.
Absolutely not.
That's nonsense and will not occur. There's no death for... it's ridiculous. It's a claim that I'm not even going to dignify with a proper response.
If they seek his own death, they have to do it himself, not by our own hands.
Correct. It's simply not happening. Vela, as you're aware, one of my goals is to... one of the goals of Ascension is to provide an example of justice that isn't done through archaic means or assigning laws to people after the crimes have occurred, as in the case of Quinn. What I would like to do is to allow them to put Jumbo up for trial, given that one of the consequences cannot be execution. The consequences could be remuneration of, he may be required to pay some gold. He may be required to perform some labor. He may be required to do something of their own creation. Not of blood, but of reasonable service and or remuneration. I think this is perfectly fair, and I think would provide a great example for these lesser barbaric nations in the future of what Ascension is capable of. Given that we've been repaid for the last incident in great number, I believe. This is what I'd like to propose. We will... Of course, I don't think exile is the correct choice, but you will be removed from the Council of Lords. That will occur no matter what. Your title will be stripped away.
addition.
Hmm.
Ragnar, you are here as a neutral party to hear the hearing of Echo, and you recall him stating that execution was not something that they wished for, yes?
I believe the Jarl said that he wanted it, but the rest of them didn't.
Yes, Echo also stated that he was not looking for execution. I want to make this clear that perhaps if Ragnar is willing, he'd be part of the trial, again as a neutral party. And I want him to be there, given the fact that he was here for this hearing. And should it happen at the trial that they deny the allegations, or rather the comments that they said about not executing Jumbo and instead asking for execution, that they are going back on their word and the trial is then nullified. Echo came in here specifically asking, well, not specifically asking, he explained the situation and thought that a trial would be the most fitting solution. But he has also stated that he does not wish for execution, nor does the Jarl. If this ends up being the case differently at the actual trial, I need witnesses that was present here that are willing to testify about the fact that was said here.
I agree. We shouldn't let them be able to take the opportunity to, pull the hood over our eyes
I
in
am
such
not
a
being
public statement.
framed for shit that we didn't do. So this is an alibi that we need.
We will surrender him to trial under the singular condition that execution is not part of the deal.
I believe it should be execution or exile. Ojumbo is still a valued member of our town and city.
He will not be exiled from the city, and that would be, quite frankly, an odd thing for them to suggest.
Jumbo, did you hurt them, though? This is the thing.
Let me assure you of this. If somebody showed up in Ascension wearing a mask again and threatened us again for the third consecutive time, I don't care if they swung a sword or not. I would attack them just as we did the last member of the Oopsie gang who showed up brandishing an ice hammer and whacked Freitas in the head without so much as a word. I don't give a fuck. And I wouldn't...
No, this is what I'm saying.
If I was them...
He didn't attack them.
He brandished a weapon.
It doesn't really matter anything in my eyes.
It does to me.
You can
Because
wave a
I would
stick all
react
you
the
want.
same. You either announce yourself and your intentions, or you're clearly there for nefarious purposes.
I agree. I don't think Ojumbo's purposes or intent were necessarily civil at that point in time. Regardless of, every man being able to do what they want, it still put us in a bind.
The reason
fine,
this
his
is such a
intentions may have been
significant
not
issue
good.
is because he is a lord. He represents the interests of Ascension. And in that moment, he was not representing our interests. He was representing his own. And I don't fault you, number one, for being upset with these fools in the north. I hate them. I wish I could kill the lot of them myself and simply move right over the land. But we are a nation, and that means we have to act in certain ways, and you know this. I still say we will surrender him for trial. There will not be the possibility of execution.
I agree with this. And removing the title.
The title
well.
is removed.
But it's more of a show. I believe all eyes are on us, and it is up to us as one of the biggest nations to set an example to, like you said, boss, the lower tribes out there.
And I'm not denying this. I'm quite happy for what you say, but it goes in his favor that he didn't attack them. He may have
Oh, of
brandished
course.
a weapon. That's fine. But he could have been doing it just to make them shit themselves.
And that's fair. A solid point. I apologize for
No, it's fine.
standing over it. The trial
May
should be
interject
public, yes.
there for a moment, because my hearing may have been a little bit different, but Echo explained the fact that the first action was an arrow shot at the Jarl.
Jumbo did not dispute this.
Okay.
So to say that he did not attack is, unfortunately, not true.
I must not have heard that. Sorry, Hunter.
No, that's okay. I'm just making sure we all know the details and to the fullest extent.
If we're in agreement, and Ragnar, you will also bolster this no execution clause, I will go ahead and tell the Jarl what we decided here.
If I get this right, they do not ask for an execution, but they definitely demand a trial.
Correct.
May I propose something?
Sure.
What about if you propose them that Jumbo, stripped from his ranks as lord, spend some time in Nordmoor, helps with tasks and labor to contribute the tribute that will equal the damage that he has done, and that their matter is dismissed by that without making a great fuss. I mean, what he has done is definitely not a good deed, but he hasn't killed anyone.
Correct.
So the
But
damage that he has caused is still in a barrier of not the utmost worst.
I do think if he goes to Nordmoor, it must be part of the terms that he's not injured, hurt,
Poisoned.
attacked, poisoned, beaten, ridiculed, dragged across the coals.
Let their Jarl swear that by an oath. That should bind them. Oaths are sacred.
You aren't going to do a damn thing. You're going to come back here and tell us what happened. And
You've done enough, Jumbo.
you can run. I know this. I've seen you do it, and that's what you'll do. I will tell them this. We will give you over to them for labor for a month or two. And, yes, this is it. Give me a
Consider
moment.
this, Jumbo. If you are harassed or otherwise inconvenienced by the Nordmoorian while you are there, and you do not raise a finger back in return, you can still come back to us and we can help you. But as soon as you raise any sort of arms or anything that might give the impression that you put up a fight once again, we once again lose our high ground in this matter. As slim as it is. So, if it behooves you, try to quench your, how would I put it? Just try to make sure that you don't understand or not make any more issues in this matter. The tensions are rising. We do not need more right now. Simply do what you can, what you're told to do. If you're harassed, you simply report back to us, and we will reconvene and see what we can do about your situation. That's it.
Wise words, Hunter. Do not forget, Jumbo, that we do stand behind you, but something needs to be done.
And I also think we should bind Ein Valor into this, because it's alright with binding Nordmoor not to hurt him. That won't stop Ein Valor coming over and picking at the carcass, if you may expose it.
That would be a sensitive matter, given that Ein Valor was not directly involved in this particular incident.
I just worry about the shitstorm. I think it should be Ein Valor and Mimir then, across the board. No other town to interfere in this town's business.
Yes, that would be wise.
Correct.
But they also have to accept those terms.
Yes.
Yes, for they wish to demand the trial, so it is unclear whether or not they will accept these terms.
I have the sinking feeling that they wish to make an example out of Ojumbo, and so the trial will still continue even though there may not be serious consequences.
Potentially. Which is why it's important that Ascension maintains the impression that we are not here to start fighting, and that we can deal with this in a way that benefits everyone and not just the victims. That we are we are a nation that can be strong, but doesn't necessarily need to force its hand. If you catch my drift with that.
Yes, I do. I'm just also, all for punishing Jumbo, I'm sorry. But I also worry about the repercussions of your own townsfolk.
Here is what I would like to send to Echo and Jarl Bardir. The parchment reads as follows. After hearing testimony from Echo and under the guidance of Ragnar, we have taken the following actions and give you the following proposal. Jumbo has been stripped of his lordship and Ascension and will no longer serve on our council. 2. Jumbo will be surrendered into your care for the purposes of labor and work under your supervision and care. No harm, taunting, or aggression will come to him in your care. He will put to work as you see fit to relieve the harm he has done. 3. The period of time this will be undergone will be no greater than 7 days of our old lives' time.
A fine parchment, I agree.